What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another fantasy football video. Today, we are going to be talking about deep sleepers at the quarterback and tight end positions. One of the most common fantasy football strategies that we hear all the time, year in and year out, is that if you don't get one of the elite quarterbacks or tight ends, that you should punt the position, wait until round 8, round 9, round 10, even rounds 14 and 15 to get your quarterbacks and tight ends because they're all the same after that first few guys fall off. So we're going to be talking about 7 guys today. We got 3 quarterbacks and 4 tight ends that if you punt the positions early in your drafts that you can target really late. We can be talking about some standard redraft leagues. We can be talking about dynasty leagues. Some of these guys and most of these guys are going to go undrafted in your leagues. These first couple guys are definitely guys that I'm targeting if I punt the positions altogether. So the first guy we're going to be talking about, we got a lot of rookie tight ends. But the first one we're going to be talking about is Mason Taylor for the New York Jets. We all know that the Jets wide receiver room is terrible. They have Garrett Wilson and absolutely nobody else. We all know that Justin Fields really struggles to throw the football. So what that means is they are going to look to dump the ball off short a lot. And the number one beneficiary of that is going to be Breece Hall and Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor is going to be an every down guy, and there's no reason that he couldn't be the number 2 pass catcher on this Jets offense in week 1. Target Mason Taylor if you punt the position altogether. He's currently going outside the top 20 tight ends, I believe, and he could absolutely finish inside the top 12. Definitely a sleeper to keep your eye on. The next guy, we're going to go quarterbacks here. This is the one early quarterback that I'm targeting in every draft if I don't get one of those elite guys in the early rounds, and that is Bo Nix. We saw Bo Nix have an extremely slow start to his rookie season last year until they absolutely unleashed him, let go of the reins, and said, do your thing. He runs great. He throws great. The Broncos are going to be an elite offense. They have arguably the best offensive line in the entire NFL. They have Courtland Sutton, who's been a solid wide receiver 1 for Bo Nix to rely on. Bo Nix checks every box that you could want for a fantasy quarterback, and if he can play this season the way he did the second half of last season, he could definitely be a top 5 quarterback this season. That is a hot take I have for this video. Bo Nix finishes as a top 5 fantasy football quarterback. So those are the 2 guys that are probably going to get drafted in your leagues, and a lot of these guys are going to be deeper sleepers from here on out. The next guy is going to be Theo Johnson. Very similar to Mason Taylor, Theo Johnson is going to be an every down guy on the New York Giants. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, whoever the quarterback is going to be, they're not going to be great. And so what they are going to do is they're going to look to dump the ball off pretty short. Russell Wilson has a beautiful deep ball, but when teams realize that all they need to do is double team Malik Nabers because he's the only guy in the entire Giants offense that can do anything at a skill position, Theo Johnson is going to be that number 2 option that steps up and makes plays. So Theo Johnson, someone definitely going undrafted, someone who you can target in your dynasty leagues, in leagues with a very deep bench. Go ahead and take a shot on him. I think he's the number 2 pass catching option for the New York Giants. The next guy, we're going quarterback. We're going a guy who has underwhelmed to start his NFL career, and that is Bryce Young. I think in maybe a super flex league, a 2 quarterback league, Bryce Young is an excellent QB 2 or 3 with massive upside. We are forgetting that he was a number 1 overall pick. I understand that he's struggled. We need to look at the Panthers that have surrounded him. Their coaching staff has been terrible. Their wide receivers have been terrible. Their offensive line has been terrible. They now drafted Tetairoa McMillan, arguably the best wide receiver in this draft class, who I believe is going to finish as a top 15 fantasy asset this season. Bryce Young finally has an alpha wide receiver option to throw to. We saw them solidify a solid running back in Chuba Hubbard last season. They added depth with Rico Dowdle. They're continuing to improve their team. And after Bryce Young got benched last season, he led the Panthers to, I believe, being a top 12 offense the rest of the season. And he was really solid running the ball, throwing the ball. Bryce Young is someone who has a lot of upside. He was a number 1 overall pick. We cannot forget about that. Target Bryce Young if you're in a 2 QB, a super flex league, or maybe it's a 16-team draft. I don't know how deep the leagues that you guys are playing in, but Bryce Young is definitely someone that you can stream throughout the season or in a deep league to target. The next guy we're going to be talking about, I'm repping the Travis Kelce jersey today, but it is actually going to be Noah Gray. I understand you probably haven't even heard of half the names that I'm saying, but Noah Gray, someone who we have seen over the years go really streaky with Patrick Mahomes. He might have 2 catches, he might have 30 yards, and he might have 2 touchdowns. He has been very streaky. He's found his way into the end zone. Patrick Mahomes has always had receivers who have gotten hurt, and guess what? Rashee Rice is suspended the first 6 games. We know Worthy's there. We know Kelsey's there. Kelsey has been known to get beaten up the last few years. What if Gray steps in and is that immediate tight end 1 for the best quarterback in the NFL on an elite offense? Again, this might be a dynasty option. This might be a 16-team backup tight end option. This might be someone to look at when Travis Kelsey goes down for a week. I don't know what the situation's going to be, but I do know that Noah Gray is a really solid football player attached to a really solid offense and attached to arguably one of the 2 best quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. So keep an eye out for Noah Gray this season. The last quarterback we're going to be talking about, he didn't write back, and that's Geno Smith, reuniting with Pete Carroll for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders have a really promising offense this season. The offensive line isn't great, but they obviously have Bowers. They obviously have Genty. They drafted 2 rookie receivers in Dante Thornton and Jack Besh. They have Amari Cooper, who they just signed. They have Jacoby Myers, who's been reliable, safe, and boring, but a solid player. And they have Pete Carroll, who Geno Smith has proven to be reliable with in past experiences. So, again, same exact category as Bryce Young. Maybe not for Dynasty because he is so much older, but for a solid QB2 or QB3 with a lot of upside on a really intriguing offense, maybe you get Brock Bowers and you can stack him with Geno Smith as your QB2. Whatever the situation may be, he is going to be a very solid streamable option at the quarterback position this season and someone definitely to keep an eye on. The last guy we're going to be talking about, really, really deep sleeper, another one you probably don't know, and that is Terrence Ferguson, the tight end 1 on the Rams. The Rams are going to be a great offense. I'm hoping that Matthew Stafford is playing this season, but if he's not, we know who a backup quarterback is likely to target, and that's a tight end in a dump-off situation. Ferguson was drafted to replace Tyler Higbee, someone who's had injury issues over the years. We know Puka's had injury issues. We know Devontae Adams is getting old and slowing down. So Ferguson could be a guy who could emerge on a really solid offense with a veteran quarterback or a backup quarterback. Either way, it's a win-win situation, and the receivers could go down at some point this season. So keep an eye out for Terrence Ferguson on your dynasty rosters, in your backup tight end position for redraft, someone that you can stream when your tight end's on bye or gets injured. So Mason Taylor, Bo Nix, Theo Johnson, Bryce Young, Noah Gray, Geno Smith, and Terrence Ferguson are the quarterback and tight end deep sleepers that I want you to just keep an eye on. You don't necessarily need to draft all of these guys, but keep an eye on them in your fantasy football leagues this season. We did this same type of video for running backs and receivers, values and busts all across the draft board. So go make sure to look back on those and comment below what you think of those takes. The next video is going to be really similar to this one, just the opposite. The guys who you should be avoiding at the quarterback and tight end positions. And there are some really big names. Hint, hint, Lamar Jackson. Hint, hint, TJ Hawkinson. You do not want to miss the discussion on those guys. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe on this video and to my channel. It would greatly help me a lot. You know I love to get interactive, so let's talk in the comments. I'm responding to DMs on Instagram 24/7. YouTube comments, I respond to everyone. I'm over on TikTok as well. You guys know how to reach me. Fantasy football and the NFL are back. Let me know how you're feeling about your drafts, how you're feeling about your favorite NFL team. I'd love to talk. I'd love to chat football with you guys. That's all I got for this one. Leave a like, subscribe. Quarterback and tight end busts in the next one. That's all I got. God bless you guys.